In 2018, the world had its eyes on Chemnitz as thousands of right-wing extremists and hooligans took to the streets. Their marches created a crisis that lasted for days. The city whose most famous landmark is a bust of Karl Marx, the father of socialism. Today, Chemnitz seems calm and peaceful. Despite its reputation as a stronghold of the right, many foreigners and refugees do feel at home here.
I could have gone anywhere.
Including a large Indian community.
I met people from around the globe in this city.
Saxony is the land of the future, so it was a clear decision that I would be coming here to Chemnitz.
And now, Chemnitz is one of the European Capitals of Culture 2025. How do foreigners, immigrants and artists that live here experience Chemnitz? As the capital of culture, Chemnitz has adopted the motto, "See the unseen." With millions in funding, the city wants to make the unseen visible. Chemnitz is located on the edge of eastern Germany, in the state of Saxony. Some 15% of its population is from other countries and includes one of the largest Indian communities in eastern Germany.
When I came here in Germany, I did not check the weather and all the temperature. So I came with the normal sweater and it was very tough for me because from Frankfurt to Chemnitz, I choose the bus 1 in the morning. So it was very cold and for me it was very culture shock.
Arjun came here to study. He works in the center of town selling a true German specialty, currywurst, a sausage with curry sauce. He likes the job, even though he's a vegetarian.
Yeah, it's a kind of student-friendly job. We just need to do it, warm it up. Yeah. Plus it's a part-time job. So 3 to 4 hour job, it's done for me. Hi.
Einmal zweimal Pommes bitte.
Zweimal Pommes mit Ketchup, Mayo?
Einmal mit Ketchup und einmal mit Mayo.
Yeah. Sometimes you feel some racism but I will say it's a 10% or the 5%, but not that much. After that, you feel the bed around 5-6 minutes or maybe sometimes, but then it's again with the new situation, you come back to your normal day. They are more friendly outside of the Saxony, but here it's my study and I would say it's my Chemnitz.
In an opinion poll in 2023, almost 2/3 of people in Chemnitz thought Germany was overrun by foreigners. It wasn't easy to get people on the street to talk to us. Hello, do you have a minute? 1 in 7 people in Chemnitz was born someplace else. What do you think of that?
It's not so good.
Why not?
Everyone has a home and that's where they belong. There are highly decent people who want to work here, who want to get involved. Nobody has anything against that. But the masses who are carted in here and just collect money and do nothing, no, I'm totally against that.
I think it's totally normal. It's European. I was born here when it was Karl Marx Stadt, and I stayed. And that's fine too.
In principle, everyone who needs help should be helped, but structures need to be in place.
Does Germany need people from all over the world?
No, it doesn't need them. Because we pensioners can't even get by on the money we get here.
As the capital of culture, Chemnitz is committed to actively involving people of all generations and walks of life, including in dance workshops led by Batul, who comes from Lebanon.
For me, dance is a language of its own. I have a lot of students who don't speak German, but they like to come here anyway, and they feel comfortable here.
Did you feel welcome here right away?
I personally don't encounter too much overt racism now. It's more subtle things like, oh, your German is very good. And then I usually say, thanks, yours is too. What else are you supposed to say? Racism always stems from a certain dissatisfaction and envy. What I hear a lot is the foreigners, they get everything they want, they don't have to go to work and still get money. But what a lot of people don't know is that many foreigners don't get work permits, including my family. And as a result, we were denied denied the opportunity to contribute anything to society. I'm very grateful to my mother. She took photos all the time of everything. This one's from Lebanon.
How old were you here?
I must have been around 2.5, 3 years old. We always listened to music at home. Mama always put something on and I danced around on the sofa and jumped all over the place. And I always wore the most beautiful costumes. And then I'd either dance on my own or I'd say to my friends at school, let's come up with a performance and dance for the others.
Wir kommen an bei 5, 6, 7, rück, 1, 2, 3, 4. Also diesen ganzen Schwung, den ihr hier habt, wieder mitnehmen. Ja? Arme anspannen. Für irgendwas machen wir das.
Batul opened her own dance studio in 2022. She thinks Chemnitz's creative offerings as a capital of culture are a huge opportunity.
I think it's nice there's such variety in dance here and so many small projects. When I saw that, it warmed my heart because I thought how nice it is to get people to move, listen to music, and express themselves.
Next to dance workshops, the initiatives offered include classes in joint music making and the history of this region on the northern edge of the Ore Mountains. Chemnitz is close to the border with the Czech Republic. Migrants have been coming here since the 12th century. The local university enjoys an especially good reputation. At the Chemnitz University of Technology, about 10,000 students from about 90 countries are enrolled, including many from India. They mainly study computer science, economics, and mechanical engineering, just like Arjun. It is no coincidence and has a lot to do with Chemnitz's past as an industrial center in Saxony. A lot of the machinery required for the production of motorbikes, cars, and textiles was manufactured here.
In this department, especially for the master, it's they are giving in English content. So that is the main reason I came here to study here. And second, it's the cheapest state, I will say, Chemnitz in overall in Germany. You save a lot of money here.
Chemnitz is one of the most affordable cities in Germany. Students earn their living with part-time jobs. Many, including Arjun's friends, also live in shared flats. The Indian community in Chemnitz likes to keep to itself. They celebrate Indian festivals together, live in student halls like this together, and even study together.
Everyone is living their own life, and whenever they get the chance, let's meet 5 people or 10 people, or whenever they get the chance to wear a traditional cloth, or that's the very big opportunity. Let's make it food together with the traditional cloth, and that's the main event. I'm thinking the reason it's and they are missing the home, family, friends. Yeah.
Arjun and other students organized a Diwali festival attended by 500 people who danced the night away. The university provided the venue. The students often meet up privately too.
As you already know that this is Saxony. Saxony is also known as Silicon Saxony. The opportunities over here are the best.
I've had a very wholesome experience living here in Chemnitz, far away from home, and I was so happy I could integrate here in Chemnitz. I found so many familiarity with my life back as a student in Bangalore and the life here in Chemnitz. So it's really an opportunity loading city for students of our age.
Chemnitz University of Technology is currently cooperating with 6 universities in India. There have been close ties between Germany and India for decades. Those relations were bolstered by the fact that India recognized the former GDR as a state in the early 1970s. When Germany was divided, Chemnitz, which was then in the communist East Germany, was renamed Karl Marx Stadt. In 1971, the festive inauguration of a monument honoring the thought leader of communism, Karl Marx, took place in the presence of the then head of the communist East Germany, Erich Honecker. With the unveiling of the granite Karl Marx monument, the industrial city was celebrated as a model socialist city. The gigantic bust was designed by a Soviet sculptor. 250,000 people attended the celebrations for the new landmark.
Proletarier aller Länder, vereinigt euch!
The GDR is history. Germany has been reunited since 1990. Sociologist Ulf Bohmann researches developments in the city's current political climate, and he analyzes the significance of the 7-meter-high landmark.
Why are we here? Why is this Karl Marx monument so centrally featuring in the city's political discourse?
It's a very big symbol, a very important symbol, and it's a place where people gather for political reasons. But interestingly, not with a reference to Karl Marx himself. The Karl Marx monument is completely devoid, completely emptied of its political meaning. So if political groups want to claim that it's their city, that it's their place, then they will meet here. So it's the whole range, and last time especially right-wing extremist groups, ironically demonstrating in front of the Karl Marx monument.
In 2018, right-wing groups appropriated the monument after a German died in a fight. The suspected perpetrators were asylum seekers. Soon, right-wingers from all over Germany traveled to Chemnitz. Angry protests against the refugee policy in general quickly grew. But a counter-protest began to form. Citizens stood up to the mob and stood up for diversity and democracy. Chemnitz has had to cope with drastic changes. The city used to be an economic powerhouse. But after German reunification in 1990, most of the factories were shut down. Tens of thousands of people lost their jobs.
Might be an overall feeling for the entire GDR, but there's certainly a narrative for Chemnitz, a narrative of decline. So Chemnitz used to be much bigger, about 60,000 people bigger, and it used to be, as you said, an industrial hotspot. It was called the Manchester of Saxony.
Some of the disused factories are now cultural venues. The historical Hartmann Fabrik, where locomotives were built, is now the headquarters of the capital of culture. This is where the participants in the Create You youth project meet. Their aim is to give Chemnitz new impetus and make space for creative initiatives.
We're the youth program of the Capital of Culture 2025, Create You, and we started as a small group last year. We've implemented many cultural projects ourselves with the help of mentors and other young people, and we want to organize a festival with young people, by young people, during the autumn break.
The special thing about the program is, above all, that young people can really implement their own ideas, from the concept to the actual event, and experiences self-empowerment. They can really help shape the city, they can implement their own projects, and that really has an effect on people.
The projects aim to counter feelings of powerlessness and frustration with togetherness.
Of course, there are still the Monday demonstrations here, where many right-wing people and conspiracy theorists come together.
Für die Freiheit! Auf die Straße! Für die Wahrheit! Auf die Straße!
That's very unpleasant, especially if you're walking through the city alone at that time. You won't feel very safe. But it's still only a small part of Chemnitz. I think the majority of the population, or at least the bubbles I'm in, we're all on the left, and we have fun, we're creative, we're culturally interested, and we make that public, and we don't let ourselves be intimidated.
There are also spaces where people can get involved and say, hey, I want to change something here in the cityscape. I don't want only right-wing people to express their opinion here, but also us young people. and that you can really be creative and be supportive, regardless of whether it's from the capital of culture or from the clubs or other open spaces. There are so many opportunities now, and it's just so nice.
Chemnitz is a city with numerous open spaces for bars and coffee roasters, for studios and clubs. Club Atomino has set up shop on the Wirkbau factory side. Artists too have mobilized against the far-right movement. Back in 2018, following the violent far-right-wing riots in the city, the music scene organized the concert Wir sind mehr, We Are the Majority. The event drew an audience of around 65,000 people.
Something had to be done quickly to counter these extremely unpleasant and ugly conditions. We were able to do this via pop culture. We put on a festival in record-breaking time. We put together a very effective response. This was urgently needed at the time, so as not to leave the field to unpleasant people.
The music scene in Chemnitz is very lively and promotes young musicians and DJs like Teresa. She got her start in Chemnitz and is now booked internationally. She's involved in the United Club Convention project for the Capital of Culture.
This is a project all about club culture, from readings, outdoor pop-up events, discussion groups, panels. In other words, a whole range of different events that deal with different topics of club culture and perhaps also do away with the usual cliches about escapism and drugs. And above all, clubs as physical places are important for interactions, social cohesion, exchange, and simply for experimentation.
Und einfach zum Experimentieren. During the GDR era, Chemnitz was a symbol of modernity. After suffering extensive damage during World War II, the city was given a showpiece neighborhood in the 1970s, the Fritz Heckert Estate, made up of the prefabricated apartment buildings so typical for East Germany. Now, on the occasion of the Capital of Culture, they have been rendered in pastry.
These prefabricated buildings have played and continue to play such an important role in this city, so I thought it would be really cool to start there. The majority of the Fritz Heckert estate in Chemnitz is built from these prefab slabs. So I recreated them on a scale of 1 to 30 in short crust pastry made to look like gray concrete.
In Betonoptik in Grau.
As a child, I often visited my grandparents in prefab buildings, and my friends lived in prefab buildings. I lived in a pre-war building, which was heated with coal. It was dark, it was cold, and the prefab buildings were bright, airy, warm. It was a pleasant feeling.
Warm, war ein angenehmes Gefühl.
But it was here, in the Fritz Heckert district, that the terrorist group NSU, or National Socialist Underground, hid at the end of the 1990s. From 2000 to 2007, they murdered 10 people throughout Germany, 9 migrants and a police officer. They also carried out bomb attacks on stores owned by migrants, for example, in Cologne. So far, several organizations have worked to come to terms with the crimes. Soon, an NSU documentation center in Chemnitz will officially commemorate the NSU's deeds, an ambitious project of the Capital of Culture to promote reappraisal.
From the fall of communism to the present day, there's been a certain way of dealing with right-wing tendencies, or dealing with the National Socialist past. There's always been a great reluctance to really tackle these topics.
Jan Kumar and Beate Düber are an artist couple who are leaving their mark on the Chemnitz cultural scene. They take a clear stance and actively shape their hometown with their lovingly ironic projects. Jan Kumar is also creating some of the many public artworks in Chemnitz and the region.
Happily, I'm now one of the Purple Path participants, and I think it's a great Capital of Culture project. I was delighted to be part of it. My contribution is putting up oversized bottle-cap mice in Gersdorf, a charming little town near Chemnitz.
In Gersdorf, einer bezauberten kleinen Ortschaft in der Nähe von Chemnitz.
For people like us, who are more into culture and art, it was a great thing that the GDR collapsed, that decaying system. For us, it was an exciting time of experimentation and new opportunities. For others, it was perhaps more depressing, because jobs were being cut on a massive scale. People always said that as a Chemnitz resident, you lived in all kinds of different cities. Our generation lived in the Socialist city. It was supposed to be a model city, a socialist city. And you can see that very clearly in terms of urban development. Then there was the fall of communism. Then there was an enormous decline in population. Then the city changed again as a result. Then there was a lot of industry that disappeared. That also shook up the city's self-image a bit. Then there was a more positive development again. So you were almost always in a different city, and that continues to this day. So you can't say what the city of Chemnitz will be like in 15 years' time. Anything's possible.
The average age of Chemnitz residents is 46, 2 years older than the national average. Many have left, but Chemnitz has managed to stop the population decline. According to crime statistics, it is no more dangerous in Chemnitz than in other German cities. But the emptiness of the city triggers a feeling of unease. So many people are retreating into their own four walls to avoid negative encounters.
In front of the lift, literally the door.
There was a man who was drunk, and lady was her wife, at the Chemnitz center only. They slapped the guy, who was a foreigner. Later on, the driver helped. The driver was a German person, and he helped the person who was being a victim from those guys. But they just smashed the driver as well, and there were a lot of police and security as well over there. So looking at, if you see that there are two types of people in Chemnitz. There are one who just misbehave with you, but there are also people who help you in such scenarios.
Learning how to make इसको ऐसे में ताकि
It's like a safety net you fall back on. I've had another experience where I had an asthma attack in the university, and I had Arjun and the whole gang call up ER services and help me out through the asthma attack, and I felt so safe that I was away from home, and I literally had parents here making me sit down, don't talk. And so yeah, I love that safety net that I landed here.
The Indian students give each other support and enjoy each other's company, an effective medicine against homesickness. Many will leave Chemnitz, but some will stay. As capital of culture, Chemnitz has received 50 million euros in funding. It invests it primarily in projects to bring people together.
So the European Capital of Culture can be a unique chance to turn things a bit around, to have a different message, to revive a city, to rebrand a city, and to make it more resilient, actually, against right-wing extremism.
It was precisely because of the right-wing marches a few years ago that Chemnitz won the bid, together with the Commission to develop a culture of doing, a creative climate where citizens can make a difference, a democratic climate. And indeed, the people we met here are determined not to abandon Chemnitz to the right-wing populists, but instead shape it together, regardless of their origin.
Chemnitz is a city full of potential that's not yet been exhausted, and it's up to us what we do with it.
Chemnitz is, above all, colorful.
Chemnitz is multifaceted.
Chemnitz is a place with lots of possibilities.
Chemnitz to me is not just a city, it's about the people in the city.
You come to Chemnitz by your wish. You go out of Chemnitz by Chemnitz wish.
It's my home, and at the same time it's the one of big milestone for me.
Chemnitz is the city where I stayed, and it's the city that suits me best.
Es ist die Stadt, die am besten zu mir passt.
Chemnitz is home.